Today we're going to be servicing the front brakes on the Subaru WRX. Brake servicing is fairly straightforward and is almost the same procedure on almost all makes and models of cars. Today we'll be servicing these brakes and using the same rotors and pads as part of this video. We'll start off by removing the caliper. To easily access the caliper, what I do is I actually turn the steering wheel. So in this case, I'm changing the left driver's side brakes, to get access to the caliper, I turn my steering right. Stop. To service these calipers, you don't need to actually take off both the caliper bolts at the same time. So what I'll do is I'll start off with the bottom caliper. Once the bottom caliper bolt is off, the caliper just slides this way. So what I will do is actually I'll hold it here and I'll support it using the screwdriver. So I put the screwdriver in here and rest the caliper on top of my screwdriver like that. The next step would be to take off the brake pads. Take the first one off, I'll take the second one off. So if you were changing your brake pads, this is where you would actually, put your new brake pads on after servicing the caliper and all the mounting brackets. Okay, stop. Next, what we'll do is we'll take out this hardware and clean it to get it ready for servicing. So I'll hold the caliper like this. And we'll do the same on the top bracket as well. So before we replace these brackets, we'll clean them up and put some lube and then reattach it to the caliper mounting bracket. Now let's say you were changing your brake pads here. Most brake pad kits come with these mounting brackets. So we'll clean it nicely using brake clean. Once these are clean, what we'll do is we'll take some brake grease and put it on the brackets. So you want to put it here. This is the underside of the bracket. Just makes it easier and it doesn't, it prevents the brackets from seizing. And we'll put this as well. We'll put this here as well, and this is where the actual brake pads rest. Don't want to put a lot here because you don't want to get a lot of this brake grease on the rotor. So we'll put just enough. We'll do the same on the top bracket as well. Once the grease is applied, we'll take these brackets and put them back. Make sure they fit right into the caliper bracket. While you're doing this, you want to be a little careful so you don't get grease on the rotor. And if you do get grease on the rotor, clean it using the brake clean. Next, we'll service the sliding pins. So what I do is I hold the rubber boot while I pull on this little nut. And what happens is the sliding pin comes out. So I'll go ahead and put the caliper back on and then clean. Next, what we'll do is we'll clean the sliding pin, get rid of all the old grease, and then apply some new grease on the sliding pin on the sides. Just evenly coat the grease all over. Once the caliper sliding pin is fully greased, what we'll do is we'll put it back into the rubber boot and push it into the caliper mounting bracket, and make sure that the rubber boot fully seals and it touches the nut. And the way we check if this is working properly is this sliding pin needs to be really supple, and it needs to be able to move up and back and forth. Okay, we'll do the top a little bit later. All right. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take your brake pads and apply a little bit of grease to the bottom where this actually sits on the bracket, caliper bracket. Put it there, and then we'll put it here as well, top. You don't want to get anything on the braking material. Once that's done, we'll set the brake pad onto the rotor right into the caliper bracket. Make sure it sits properly and flush with the rotor. Do the same on the other brake pad, back brake pad. Just apply a little bit. Once that's done, we'll take a little bit of grease and apply it on the backing material of the pad. Again, this just helps it not to seize on the caliper piston. So what we need to do is push these pistons back in, but before I do that, I'll just wipe off any dust or grease, because you don't want that getting into your brake fluid. Wipe that off nicely. I don't like to use brake cleaner on this. I was told not to use brake cleaner on it because brake cleaner could be corrosive to the rubber boot here. So we'll just wipe it down, and then take your old brake pad, put that against the piston like that. Take your brake compressor, put it in here, and then turn the knob. What this will do is it'll just push the piston back in. Push it slightly in. That should do it. And then we'll take it out. And then close the caliper. There you go. The caliper closes. So what I'll do is, before I service this pin, I'll bolt up the bottom pin. To do this, you may need to push the caliper pin a little bit in, just like that, and then close and put the bolt back on. I just hand tighten it. We'll come back and tighten this. To service the top caliper pin, what I'll do is I'll loosen the top bolt. Take this bolt out. And then slide the caliper off. Hold the caliper while you're holding the caliper, you don't want again to overextend this because of this brake line. Once that has been taken off the sliding pins, I hold the rubber boot on the top sliding pin and pull the sliding pin out. Now while I'm cleaning this, what I do is I like taking just like a flathead screwdriver or something like that and just putting it back in so that we don't have this fall off, so it's more secure. So it's, there you go, just like again, apply this coat evenly. Sides like that, and then once that's done, we'll put it back. So I'll just take the caliper off and put the sliding pin into the boot, such a way that the rubber boot is secure and it's touching the nut over here. And then again, like the bottom one, we'll test to see if it's nice and supple. As you can see, it's nice and supple. Okay, so now that that's done, what I'll do is I'll close this back up. Oops, bolt. There we go. Okay. We'll tighten this with the ratchet until it's hand tight. Don't over tighten this. Side tight there, and we'll tighten the bottom bolt as well. Okay. Once that's done, we'll take our torque wrench, and this has been set to 20 foot-pounds of torque, and then we will torque the bolt. So basically turn it until you hear that clicking sound. There you go, and you're done. So before you basically put everything back, I highly suggest you take some brake clean and clean off the rotor. There you go. Done already.